Nothing beats a good ghost story on Halloween, and our planet is chock full of them. UFO sightings in Transylvania, murders on luxury cruise ships, and spirits wandering the halls of British castles. No matter where you are traveling, you are sure to find some sort of haunted site, as well as a ghost tour to go along with. This also in the Netherlands. The Netherlands and the Netherworld are more closely connected than you might think. Dutch shores, fields and streets are riddled with myths and whisperers of the deceased who might still be roaming there. Even though the Witte Wieven, or the vicious wise woman in older Dutch, are among the more famous classic ghosts in Dutch folklore, there's also the story of the Zeedijk ghost. A tanner's daughter from Zeedijk named Dina was dating a young sailor, to the envy of her sister Helena. One day, when he was out sailing, the sisters fought viciously. In a flurry of anger, Helena pushed Dina down the basement stairs, beat her to death, and threw the hatch shut. She got to marry the sailor instead of Dina, but Helena spent her years wracked with guilt. She finally admitted the murder on her deathbed, and the sailor turned away from her in disgust. She died miserably and alone. That very night, residents of the Zeedijk were aroused by chilling wails and ragging howls. Lone wanderers in Zeedijk still encounter the lonely ghost of Helena from time to time. I am your host, Maria Anna van Driel, and you are listening to The Next Truth, where science and myth meet. And this week, I'm speaking with Dutch paranormal researcher Veronique Lamers about which secrets still lies beyond the limits of our understanding regarding to the hereafter. Veronique, welcome to the show of The Next Truth, where science and myth meet. As I just shared in your intro, you are a paranormal investigator from the Netherlands. What influenced you? Your interest in researching these yet unknown realms?
Yeah, that was a long time ago. I think that began when I was around 7 years old. I hear things, I see things, but my parents didn't understood that. They always said to me, "It's in your fantasy, it's in your head." And at that moment, I really hurt because the things I see, they were real and scary, and I couldn't talk about that. Well, when about the year 2000, my mother died. She at 47 age, and just before my mother died, she spoke of a. She was lying in bed, and she spoke of a white spear, so an orb thingy in against the wall, and she pointed at it, and then she said to me, "Van now it's time. I have to go." And 10 minutes later, she died. And that fascinates me a lot because that made me really think there is more than this on Earth, and that was I wanted to understand that. Why is it there, and is it everything? And that's for me the beginning of my interest in the paranormal.
Those orbs, those balls of light, they come in different colors and different sizes, and people have photographed them. What do you think they could be? Just imagination from somebody in the moment that they are being aroused in the darkest hours of the night, or that it is a glitch in the matrix, or perhaps there is a failure in the camera lens or something, or is it real?
I don't know. I think that we had a lot of discussions in the group about this, and people getting mad because they all believe that is always energy, but I don't believe that. There's a lot of dust, there are a lot of insects, and it's rarely a real orb. So I have one picture of one, and that's a red one. That's the only one I think that's real. But really, yeah, I think that's a really hard discussion.
So it's energy, you say, an orb like that. I have millions of photographs with all these round objects seemingly being transparent or something, but they have particular colors, like you said, red or blue or mostly white, by the
Yes.
way, and sometimes a little bit of yellowish. Why do you think that it is? Is that the frequency of the energy?
Yeah, I do think that that's the kind of energy or the mood they are in or the way they're died, if that's related to a deceased person.
Have you ever been investigating these kind of orbs? I mean, with scientific devices to, well, figure out what the wavelength is of these energies.
No, I do have a few EVPs. When you hear me say that I'm seeing an orb and then we get a reaction in the ghost box. Well, I don't know if that's really a connection, but yeah, I think that's really hard what orbs are.
You say you are investigating together with in a group. Is that
Yeah.
your personal group, or how many people are there in there, or how did you, well, came together? How did you met?
I first began with my husband. We really like to go on an adventure in the night because I like the night better than day. And that's where I began. Simple things with a really simple phone where you have to swipe yourself with your finger to pass through the frequencies. And yeah, then you go on Facebook, you meet other groups, other people, and that's where it began. I've got now 4 members in my team. I just got a new cameraman. Thank you, because we didn't have a cameraman, so we really needed one. And we've got Ingrid, Ellen, and then Ivan now. And yeah, they all have their own abilities. They all work in a different way. We are very different, but on an investigation, it works really, really good together.
You say you are conducting investigations in the beginning with your husband. Is he a firm believer, or is he a bit of a skeptical, or is he a complete 100% skeptical?
Very skeptical. He's seen things in my last house ook, he cannot explain. But he doesn't want to know, look further. He thinks it's okay, and he thinks what I'm doing is okay. He's always at my side when I'm going on an investigation. But he doesn't want to think further. I don't know why. Maybe he's scared. Maybe he doesn't want to know it. I don't know.
I heard that a lot when people investigating paranormal events in a group. They always have 1 or 2 persons with them that are, well, skeptical in a way, so that they can, well, ground themselves, staying with 2 feet on the ground, and that you are not going into, well, let's say a mass hysteria and running out of a building like a hyperactive guinea pig or something like that, screaming, oh my God, a ghost. So I heard that a lot, that the people have the skeptics with them.
He is that person.
He's holding everything together.
Yes.
Which kind of investigations have you conducted? I mean, which sites have you been at?
Yeah, we have done a lot, and only in the Netherlands. And we had a few interesting places. You've got in Nunspeet, het round house. That's a really interesting investigation. There's only a little wall left. And nearby there's het Valentijnshuis. And those are the 2 most interesting investigations I did. Because you've got all kinds of energy there, from normal to really, really bad, really bad. I got pictures of shadow figures. I've got pictures with faces. I've got really scary EVPs. That's a really, really dark place.
But those faces appearing in pictures, don't you think it's pareidolia?
Most of the time, yes.
Pareidolia.
Yeah.
So that means that these faces are, well, an imagination of ourselves, of our mind, creating a safe side in our minds. I mean, Recognizing a face is more like a survival drift, so that we can understand if there is danger or not.
Yeah, it goes automatically in your head, eh? But I do have some pictures where I don't think it's pareidolia. I hate that word. Why is that so difficult word to speak, to write? Yeah, I really hate it. But mostly when you see faces in the bushes or that kind of stuff, well, I really don't believe that's real. But I have some faces that are not in the bushes. And you can almost see them in front of you. Those are cool.
I think we need of this kind of pareidolia because, like I said, it's a form of survival drift. It's well, if there is nothing, we are in luck. If there is something, we stay alive. You know, we can run from it.
Yes.
During your investigations, which kind of methods do you use for finding a plausible answer of what it is that is dwelling of you realms?
Yeah, mostly we work all with feeling and the things we see, and when we really think there's something, we do have some thermal, not the flur, but when you only see the digital.
Oh no, I haven't seen that, or no.
No, I don't.
I know what you mean, but I know what you mean by thermal, and most of the times they call it a flare. But yeah, maybe there's a phone app or something that we can use for that. Or...
I don't use phone apps. I really hate phone apps.
Oh, okay. We leave the apps out then.
I don't think that. But yeah, I've got a K2 meter. I've got a spirit box, and sometimes we have a RAM pod. If you combine those together, you have your voice recorder, you have your RAM pod, and you have your K2 meter. And when something happens and they all go off, that's awesome. That's really, really, really awesome. That's the best proof.
I have seen a couple of the series Ghost Avengers. They also use RAM pods and other kind of equipment and etc. So, but I'm always thinking when you have so much devices in one room or in one particular area, they are connecting with each other with energy, with electricity and with vibrations. So, in my opinion, but hey, I'm not an expert, but in my opinion, these devices communicating with each other are triggering each other, and then a RAM pod is going off.
Yeah, that's a very good one. There has to think about that.
So it is a question if it's the devices themselves or that it is something from a parallel world.
Oh, that's something I'm gonna test. That's very interesting. On my next investigation, I'm gonna trigger that.
You have to inform me about the results about that.
Don't do that. Interesting.
Gerard Crosset, I hope I pronounce his name correctly, was born in Laren, North Holland in 1909. He was a Dutch parapsychologist, a psychometrist, and a psychic. According to Wikipedia, he said that he began to become aware of his gifts while working for a watch repairer. That on one occasion he held a ruler belonging to his employee and saw events that he related to his employee and which his employee confirmed were accurate. These abilities are known today as token object reading. Do you think that it is possible that somebody holding an object is connecting with the history of it? Regardless if it's 5 minutes ago or 100 years ago. You think that is possible?
Yes, absolutely.
Have you seen something in being active with somebody?
Isn't that the same when I hold a ring of a deceased one? I held it between my hands and I'm I'm learning to do that. But it's the same thing you have with photoreading. It's connected in some way. And I do think I connect with my guides, but I do think that's possible. and maybe it's residual energy you feel, or yeah, I really believe that's possible. Mostly when I do photo reading, I'm always good. I didn't have anyone that said, "Oh no, that isn't right."
What do you think that happens? Photo reading and this token object reading, this holding of objects, reading the energy coming from it, or the people that are connected with it. How is it that working from just a plain scientific clinical way of thinking? What happens in your mind, in your brain?
What happens in my brain a lot, I have always a busy mind, but at that moment I get pictures in my head really quick. I can see photos, I can see little parts of a film, and I hear words, and that goes so fast. That's why I need to learn and to be a little bit patienter in my head. But those words, then I write it down, and I think harder about that, and then mostly I can make out. It's just a puzzle. You have to see it as a puzzle for me. I can words, pictures, and I will make there my story, and that I'm telling to the one who says the reading. Or
well, what you are describing is listening to that the brain is going into a state, a hyperstate, whereby the synapses are going crazy and producing a form of extreme high energy, like electricity. And that colostrum and the pineal gland are being triggered by that, so that in the end, a form of holographic projection is going to be projected in the midbrain of the brain. And it's like a vivid hallucination. But it is remarkable to hear that it is coming from, for instance, a photograph. There is no, it's been made by a machine and that has no emotions, well, according to me, and still there is a form of, well, story, energy in there. So now I have to think about the Aboriginals. I think they are right. When you take somebody's photo, you take somebody's soul, or at least a piece of it.
You can see emotions in a picture. You can see if he's sad, if he's happy. There are a lot of things in the face. I read the way the eyes look, and I think when you're sensible for that, you can pick that easier.
Now, your group, your investigating group, investigating all these, well, events people cannot explain. Most of the groups are acting with a crappy camera into the dark and screaming, "Oh my God, that's a ghost!" Or you hear something, someone behind the camera, "Oh my God, what was that? Did you saw that?" How does your group differs?
I hate comparing, but I think we as a group want to look further than what we see. Don't believe or don't make assumptions on the moment, but search further. Debunking, I think, is really important. Debunking van always look for the things that it can be except paranormal, because 70 to 80% is not paranormal. That's easy. Sounds you hear or lights flickering. Always look further than that. And I think it's interesting to do research before and after. Compare what you think before and compare what you think after. And that's very important. And look further, not in the box, out the box.
You are also on Facebook with your group, and your last investigation was at, I believe, correct me if I'm incorrect, the Valentine's house?
That was not the last one. The last one I did was here in Deventer, but that was research and cleansing.
Cleansing. Wait a minute. I heard that term many times before.
We kicked a little a demon. I don't like the word, but that little thing in the cellar.
Do you see these things? I mean, do you see these things with your eyes, with the naked eye, or do you see these things in your mind, or do you sense these things or demonic forces, if I may call them so, like so?
When I see some energy, I can see the energy flowing.
Like fireless fire
Yeah,
swirling up, like on a hot summer evening, you see that swirling of the hot air is just above the road. That is how you see it.
that's how I see it. I can feel that when I put my hand in it. The last time I tried it, it was a little bit scary, but I wanted to feel it. So I get in front of it and I could feel it around my arm and you could see the energy. So cool, so very cool. And in my head, and I really have to think, is that a simulation or not? But in my head, I will create a kind of image. I can feel if he is a man or a woman, but really see, no, I don't. I really don't really see it.
Aren't you afraid that these things are becoming attached to you and you bring it home? Because you also have a son.
Yeah, I had a few attachments. I did have that. I've been stretched, and in this house I am very carefully. But my last house in Twello, that was echt very haunted. There things happened. Toilets were flushed on their own. Every 6 o'clock in the morning, my toilet flushed. All the water in my hall. Lights were flickering. Doors were opening, closing. My husband, my husband. That was the point that I thought from, I can see things. I don't know what I have to do with it. But it was really, really too much. There was a demonic kind, and what I'm doing, how to cleanse my house, it always come back. I still don't know why it's still haunted, and I'm very glad that I'm not living there anymore, because it's nice to investigate, but not nice to live in, because it sucks everything out of you. My husband was getting sicker. My son doesn't sleep. I was getting weaker. So it's not fun to sleep and live in it. But I have really cool videos with a music box, and there was no battery in it. I was sitting with a friend, Mary, on the couch, and a music box in the middle, and there was a young boy in my house. That's a bit another story, but the name was Peter. Yeah. So I set the music box, and I asked him, "Can you make it pingle?" Within 2 seconds, pling. Every time I asked him for make music with it, he did it. Very awesome.
Isn't it a little bit, well, sorry to say so, and with all respect, a little bit dumb to, taunt it and say, hey, make that music box go like ping, it does, and then etc. So that ghostly forces or demonic forces are being triggered around you, and you keep them with you. So you are going into a spiral going down. You are keeping this thing active.
But it's in my blood.
I'm sorry to say so, but it is a stupid thing to do if you want to get rid of it.
No, that's why I investigate. That's in my blood. That's the thing I want to understand. That's the thing, because they can feel negative, but they aren't always negative. Sometimes they feel bad because the way they died. This little boy was murdered by the friend of his mother. It was a very, very sad story. And I really had a connection with him still. He's still in my heart. That's the one spirit I carry with. Yes, I always call him my son in another world. He's so cute.
Okay.
Yeah, echt, but he was very awesome to communicate with.
Today, he's still with you.
No, I don't know. No, I don't think. I think he stayed there.
Okay, in that other house.
Yeah. Some still housebound. I don't know why, but.
Well, that's creepy to live in. I have to think about something that happened to me 2 days ago, and it was in the very, very early morning. It was about 3:30, and everybody was fast asleep. And I woke up, I don't know why. And then suddenly, a couple of seconds after I really woke up, I was clearly woken up. I heard 5 knocks on the door that is
Yeah.
separating my living room from my hallway. So opening the door, there was nobody. The lights in the hallway were on, but I forgot to put them out, so that was my own stupid thing. But everybody was asleep in the house. So who the bleep knocked on my door?
Didn't
There
you
was
ask?
nobody there, but I was really, and I was, and
Well,
that was on the door. So when you, Veronique, personally would have encountered something like that in the middle of the night, everybody is asleep, there's nobody behind that door, and all the outside doors are locked with a key. What would you think that would have happened? What is knocking on my door?
I'm going to investigate, even if it's in the middle of the night. I'm going out and and I'm gonna trigger it. Well, I'm gonna say, I hear you. I know you're there. And because I want to know for sure, well, I ask him, can you do it again? Well, I knock on the door. Can you knock back? Or can you do something else? I really want to know what it is, because when he does that, he wants your attention. There is something you need to know.
Yes, probably. Otherwise, somebody is not knocking, or something is not knocking on the door. That is
If you
clear.
if you're gonna ignore him, it's gonna be worse. Because he wants to say you something, and he really, really wants that. So this time it's a knock, and then next time he will open the door, or he is gonna steal some things from you. Because I have happened that a lot. For all child spirits will do that. They will steal lighters or the things you really need. I do think they like it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
well,
do think.
a lighter, a cigarette lighter, I'm sorry to say so, but that is a lifesaver. Yes, it's stressy moments and you have no lighter and just a cigarette, and then, yeah, okay, fine, got it. That is an annoying moment.
That's fine. But I lost keys. I lost my cell phone. In the last investigation we had in Deventer, we all everyone lost something. Constantly, my phone was gone, and I knew it for sure that I was lying there. The camera was gone. Then what? Oh, my black salt was gone. Irritating.
So
I don't know
why
how they do that,
how they do that, I don't know.
because I
Or
didn't
was
see
that,
it floating. I didn't see it floating. How? How the fuck did you do that?
okay, I'm gonna cut that one out. God, dat houdt.
Ja, bleep, even bliepen, ja.
Well, it's interesting that you are saying that, well, entities are making themselves known, or making noises, or replacing things, or as you refer to as stealing things, or getting attention. There's another story, but this is about 2 years ago, so that's a long time ago. I was home alone, and my family was in the Netherlands, and I was home alone watching my dogs, blah blah blah. So I was sitting in front of the television, just watching a simple detective series, nothing creepy, and suddenly a loud bang, and in my desk, underneath my laptop, and there was my mobile phone. Ever since, I have not been in possession of a mobile phone, but the screen of my mobile phone was crashed. A little bit later, there was a young man standing next to me, and silently, you know, those creepy moments that they just stand there doing nothing, and you are only thinking, when is it going to do what? You know? And it's not doing. But the remarkable thing was that his head was on his right shoulder, hanging in such a, well, supporting his shoulder was supporting his head in an unnatural way.
Was he hang?
Correctly. A couple of days later, his mother, together with a girlfriend from her, rang my front door, talking and telling that her son had committed suicide. And, well, they wanted to talk about that event. So that young man was already pronouncing itself before his mother came to me a couple
Oh,
of days later. So yes,
cool.
wrapping it all together, I think that those 5 knocks on my door
Oh,
was an entity making itself known. Okay, I've got a message for you. But the creepy part of it all is there was nobody behind that door. You expect somebody to stand there, your daughter, your son,
come on.
I don't know,
How
maybe
hard, how
maybe
hard
a
did you,
neighbor in need.
but how hard did you scream when you opened it and there was somebody? Better be nobody, because if there was somebody, oh my God, I really know for sure you peed your pants.
Well, I'm living in Germany. In a part of Germany, people are not really breaking in, at least not the people in our village. But yes, I think that when there was really somebody there, I had to put up a fight because they don't belong in my home at night. Um, Veronique, from your point of view, what is the afterlife?
That's a really hard question. I really don't know. Oh, somebody once told me, if you want to imagine that, close your eyes and all what mankind has made, all what's on earth that isn't there. So tell me, what is left?
I think sound.
Yes, some, but what? I really don't know. I hope it's there, and I hope it's another dimension. But it's hard for me to imagine that all that I have here surrounding me that isn't there. So what is left?
What if the afterlife is the reality of the illusion we are living daily?
Ugh.
Let me say it like this. The reason why we see things, objects, etc. is, well, in physics terms, that electrons are being knocked off and spread into the area, and that is, well, giving us the visual reality of seeing a form of density. Of course, one density is a little bit different from the other density. There are wave frequencies and thus colors. So it's nothing else what we are seeing in our daily reality, just, well, electrons and positrons and
Yeah.
playing around and scattered around, etc. So what if the afterlife is the reality of the illusion we are living daily?
Wow. I get a really, really, really big knoop in my brain when you say that.
And not in your brain. Why is that?
Yeah, when I think about it, maybe it's true. Maybe it's possible what you say.
So
But
when we die, we
yeah,
probably are going back to reality. And that is
yes,
the reason why we cannot understand the reality of our daily activities, daily life, daily thinking, etc.
yeah,
Meaning that is the reason why we are, well, living such complex thoughts and activities and etc. We cannot understand the meaning of life as we think of it, life, because the complexity is too complex because we are living in an illusion. God, it's so philosophical.
yeah. But and when you say that, I often think, what is life? What am I doing? Is this the right way? Is this real? Something doesn't add up. Sometimes I do think I'm not from here. I don't know why. I had it when I was a little girl, and I still do think that. What the bleep am I doing here?
Amen.
Hallelujah.
Veronique, do you think that contemporary science will soon provide the proof of where we go after our body stops functioning? Or, well, at least stops existing in these, well, this reality. Do you think science will find
Yeah.
evidence? for the afterlife?
That's because of you. I think really we come a little bit closer and closer and closer. I don't think we're ready yet, but in a few, maybe in 50 years, we laugh about what we know now. Yeah. I really think that, but they thinking out of the box. I combine your abilities with science, but not the science we learn on school, not the words you are already written, but think further than that. I do think that's possible.
Which field do you think is the frontier in, well, providing us the proof of that everything that we think is existing in the afterlife or in a parallel world or in a multiverse? Which field do you think is the frontier in providing us the proof, or at least plausible proof?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Do you think that biology is more capable of providing proof than, for instance, physics?
No. That's a long time I had biology on school, but I don't think that's the same as what with physics. There's a lot of difference. It can help each other, maybe, if they work better together.
Well, that's a good one. We all want that they are communicating a little bit better.
I think if we all combine our knowledge, then it's possible.
Now, Veronique, as we are also talking to young people, and you as a Dutch paranormal investigator, do you have any advice for upcoming and rising young paranormal investigators who want to explore the realities and non-realities of whatever it is that lays behind these walls and inside these foggy realms?
Please stand with your feet on the ground. Don't make it a Hollywood scene. Don't look too much Ghost Adventures. It's nice. I love Ghost Adventures and I love Help My House is Haunted, but that's TV making. That's a lot of different what you do in a real investigation. Because on TV, a lot happened. Always EVPs, always reactions. Now I'd done a lot of investigation, nothing happened. It can be boring, but so please be pure and honest and don't have that Hollywood feeling.
Don't go into a hyper state of mania and scream, oh my God, what was that? Holding a crappy camera that doesn't see anything in the night.
No,
something like.
Don't investigate on your own. Always go with more team, because alone I think that's because in the dark it's very dangerous, not because of the dead people and a ghost, but when I compare it with the Forest of Nunspeet, you got in the night, you got a lot of wild pigs, the wild pigs, deers, criminal activity. So please go with a lot of people, not by yourself, or you will fall what you cannot see. I one time I had to run like hell, and my two men, the son of my husband and my man, they ran quicker than I. So they were further away, and the car was coming, and I had to I had to jump in a ditch, and I was lying there, and it was really deep, because I couldn't see that. I was completely dirty and all bruises, so it can be dangerous when you have to do something that's not legal.
Okay, and probably one of the best advice when listening to you is explore the site that you want to investigate, explore it in daytime so that you know where the problems lay, which you cannot see in the dark.
And please have respect for the things where you walk, because don't break in, don't break windows. When it's not open, don't go in there. A lot of urbexers and investigators, they make a mess of locations, and that's why there are in Holland not so much locations anymore.
So do the things legally.
Yeah.
Veronique, I'd like to thank you for our conversation about your group and your investigations in the Netherlands. But I see that the hour is almost over. But before we close out, Can you tell us where we can find more information on your investigations? How people can contact you, for instance, when they have questions?
I have my group on Facebook, Mystic Ways Paranormal Investigations. I've got a YouTube channel, the same name, ook Mystic Ways Paranormal Investigations. And if you want to contact me, Veronique Lamers on Facebook. Quite simple.
Thank you all for tuning in this week on The Next Truth, where science and myth meet. Make sure to visit our website, www.nexttruth.com. That is nexttruth, all in one word.com. And let us know what you think about our podcast. While you're at it, if you found value in this show, we would appreciate a rating on our website in the section The Next Truth Podcasts. Or if you would simply tell a friend about the show, that would help us too. I am Maria Anna van Driel with The Next Truth. Be sure to tune in next week for our next episode.